Welcome to the Hope College Athletics Orange and Blue podcast. My name is Alan Babbitt. I'm the Sports Information Director here at Hope College. And with us today is Becky Schmidt, head volleyball coach. Flying Dutch coming off a great season last year, made it to the regional final in the NCAA tournament, and have been on the court this fall training a little different looking fall due to the COVID-19 pandemic. And we look forward to talking with her about her team and what they're doing in these challenging times. But obviously, Coach, this is a very heavy time in this country right now. A lot going on between the pandemic and then also the racial justice and the shootings most recently in Kenosha and everything there. How have you and your team been processing everything? I know it's something that's important to this team that you guys not shy away from some of these difficult, issues and conversations we're having right now. How has your team kind of been trying to work together and make a positive change?
Yeah, well, first, thanks, Alan, for having me on the podcast. And thanks for bringing up this topic. It's certainly not an easy conversation for, a lot of folks to have. There have been times where, we've tried to, have these conversations and it's, been clunky and awkward, hard. But but we just try to give each other the grace to be able to get through it and to be able to continue to learn and grow. We love the liberal arts here at Hope, and there are lots of ways that we are able to grow as a team through, kind of just talking about some of these difficult things. And the social injustice aspects of that are very real for and on the hearts of a lot of our student athletes, and so we want to be able to embrace that. We also believe that this is a part of our program's core covenant. Our core covenant with Hope Volleyball is kind of like our mission statement, and that is the relentless pursuit of community, faithful love, and a championship mindset in order to inspire hope. And, we believe that at no other time, certainly that we can think of right now, does inspiring hope need to happen more. And we know that to do that means to relentlessly pursue our community. And that means finding true value in everybody that is a part of our community. And I think that that's one of the things that we're struggling with right now is really being able to appreciate the value that every single person that's created by God brings to our world, and we can do a better job of that. So those are some of the things that we've been talking about. We've still got a lot of work to do on that. It's not going to happen just by a couple discussions. It's a growing, kind of process. But I love our team and the ways that they're, kind of living into each other and even challenging, me to embrace some of these things that are difficult, conversations, but are really important and valuable to the transformation that they're going to have as collegiate student athletes at Hope.
I say we've seen collegiate student athletes really asserting their voice and really trying to make positive change. What has impressed you the most about this group that they've you've seen on their hearts where in action? What have you seen from them that's impressed you about how they're trying to tackle this difficult, issue?
I think that a large part, a lot of their willingness to be able to put themselves out there, talk about courage, I think that our student athletes are pretty courageous people, because every single time that they take the court, they are putting themselves out there for the world to see, their failures, their successes. And I love that our student athletes are able to gain courage, through that practice. Well, it also takes a lot of courage to be able to share your thoughts and feelings, and then to also like kind of embrace the positive. And that's one of the things too, like that, even beyond the dealing with the challenges that are going on in our communities, with regards to racial injustice, protests and riots, and then also just the challenges of being able to deal with COVID. I mean, they have inspired me with regards to the hope that they show, and I love it. I love being a part of this group because a lot of times they're responding to things better than I do, and so I get inspired by them, and I'm grateful to be a part of this team with them.
Let's get to know this team a little bit more. I know we're again with the unusual kind of season and not games, until the spring. It's a little bit different look than maybe we're usually talking about in August. But I know there's a pretty strong core group there. Two seniors in Rose Thompson and Derek Cutler, an All-American McKenna Otto, MIAA setter Tracy Westra, and others that really kind of make I think, a strong core for this group. Tell us a little bit about this team and its makeup and what you see as for potential with them.
Yeah, I mean, we're returning a lot of experience, a lot of game experience, and again, not just experience on the court, but experience in growing closer to our potential. And I really, I think every one of these kids has, or student athletes, has grown in immeasurable ways over the course of their experience so far here at Hope. And that is as important as anything, right? And so they're growing from their experience on the court, and they're becoming better volleyball players through that, but they are learning how to embrace challenge and how to be flexible adapters and how to become more mentally tough and how to become incredible teammates. And so there's a lot of that type of experience that's also returning. And so that's really exciting. And disappointing at the same time that we're not going to have the opportunity in the same kind of way to be able to demonstrate that growth in the way that we typically do, which is, getting out on the court and competing to win games and championships. And you know what? That's going to have to be okay. Just because we're not competing for a championship doesn't mean that we're not still trying to become the best volleyball players and teammates and women that we possibly can be. And so that process continues, and hopefully we get the chance soon to be able to do that in the way that we have grown accustomed. But you know what? Being pushed outside of our comfort zone in that is not a bad thing. So we're looking forward to the process continuing.
It was exciting. I was out the other day seeing you guys compete outdoors. And before we talk about your kind of unique training this fall, I know you got some help with a great coaching staff, especially a new coach, Kyleigh Block, that joined the staff this summer. Just talk about your coaching staff and how are they assisting you get the most out of this volleyball team's potential?
Yeah, well, we're the staff that we had last year was Kyleigh Block, Amber Morse, and Dina Vrogandway. And they're all continuing they're returning just in some different kind of capacities. So Amber and Dina are going to be more volunteer and are coming back and helping us out maybe once or twice a week, at least in this fall segment. Kyleigh Block is is an alum and is a school teacher at West Ottawa and a club coach, and has got just a ton of experience and just a really great relationship with our student athletes. And it's great to have alumni continue to come back and want to give to the program. And I think that does a great job of being able to convey to our student athletes what this experience is really all about. And then we were able to add Kyleigh, and Kyleigh is a little bit more of a full-time coach. She is. It's the first time that we've got somebody that's going to be, kind of in the office a lot, or working remotely right now. But some support for me a little bit more in the office with some of like the never-ending work that kind of goes along with in terms of scouting and recruiting, the stuff that we could just, work on 24/7 and then still like feel like we wanted or need to do more. So she's going to be able to support with that. She's also going to be able to be on campus in ways to be able to support our student athletes, and be able to go grab coffee and have individual meetings with our student athletes to support them in ways that, obviously like hope to make myself available to student athletes as much as possible. But again, it gets challenging with a lot of the different demands of the coaching profession. And so we're just really thankful and excited for the opportunity that Kyleigh's going to be able to bring to the balance a little bit more with regards to my life, as well as the support that she's going to be able to give to student athletes. And she is so great. Like, she fits in so well, even though she's not a Hope alum. I think that gives us actually a little bit more of a unique, kind of perspective. And she'll have, she's got lots of different experiences to be able to draw on and to be able to contribute to our team to make us better and to find those angles. She was an All-American outside hitter at Illinois Wesleyan. And that's the one kind of position on our coaching staff, the outside hitting, kind of position that we don't have that much experience with. And so, I'm just excited for the growth that our outsides are going to see under her, and how we are all able to work well together. But she's been absolutely awesome. A gift.
Obviously, we're waiting on the opportunity to be able to get back indoors and to use everything there. Hopefully sooner than later. And that obviously presents a challenge of, okay, what do we do now to practice for an indoor sport and outdoors? You've taken the opportunity to go outdoors to Matt Urban Park here in Holland and work in the sand out there. It was just quite a sight to see. I know when I was watching, and then a train came by, which is like, you were used to trains coming through downtown Holland, and then but just how did this idea to be able to play in the sand come about?
Yeah. Well, beach volleyball is one of the fastest growing sports in the NCAA right now. It was an emerging sport a couple years ago, and then became like a true, championship level sport for the NCAA. Not so much in Division III right now, and not a whole lot in the Midwest, because it's a spring sport and we still have some weather challenges then. But we just, kind of said, look, I don't want to be in this kind of wishy-washy phase of, are the gyms going to be open? And if they're not, or if they are, then we're going to move in and start doing some stuff inside. I just wanted to be able to commit fully to something, and to be able to let our student athletes know this is what you're going to have in front of you, versus a lot of just this kind of like, oh, well, maybe, we'll see, which has been, frankly, their life since, March. And so we wanted to give them this is what we've got for you. And so we decided to do our training in the sand. The sand and playing doubles in the sand is going to contribute, I think, to them becoming better ball control players. I think that we're going to see some players who typically only play 3 rotations, like either front row or back row, start to show us some skills that might lead them to become all around 6 rotation players. I think that being in the sand with just one other person on your team with you is going to result in increased mental toughness and like kind of increased self-reliance that I'm really excited to see about or see in our team. I think that it is, playing in the sand is hard, and it's a very different game than playing indoors, which is going to push our team to grow in different ways, and that growth mindset, that idea of seeking continuous improvement is going to be something that'll become, I hope very real during these next 4 weeks at least that we're planning to be out there. And so I hope that there's some very tangible things that we grow in as volleyball players and as teammates and as student athletes that we might not have been able to see as intentionally if we were just kind of doing the indoor thing. And so we're taking advantage of a little bit, kind of eased off on some competition stuff. We feel like we got a little bit of time to be able to do this, and want to see where it'll take us.
It seemed from my eyes, and I know this is the first week of it, that everyone's picking up on it really fast and enjoying it. And also, obviously, with the pandemic in mind of when we got to have a mask, when we're on the thing and not, and it just seemed like everyone's picked up really fast. I was pleasantly surprised isn't the right word, but impressed by that, because that's a lot. Normally you just think and do the drill, but there are other things you have to have on your mind now too.
No, that's certainly something that we've said is an objective of this first week, is learning how to practice in COVID, in this kind of, new criteria. And it takes attention, right? Usually you're, again, just like you said, you're just in the drill to try to get better at the skill or improve in some technique. But now, like, we're actually saying this week, like, if you get hit in the head or not in the head, but like if you get hit by a ball, you don't play it right because you were thinking about how much space there was between you and the person next to you. You know what? That's okay. That's where your attention needs to be right now. In 2-3 weeks, hopefully we're able to move past that and it becomes a little bit more automatic. But there are different things that we're focusing on right now, and that's okay, and so we're trying to find ways. But I too was really impressed with how our team was cognizant of those things and found ways in order to balance it out. We're certainly giving each other a little bit of grace too, but we're also being very intentional with the way that we're setting things up right now in order to make sure that the health and safety of our student athletes is the number one priority. So we're not doing any scrimmaging, like as an example. We are we've got our team in 4 groups of 8 players, so that there's only 2 people on a side at a time. Which also means that our coaching staff is out on the courts for 4.5 hours, running through these different practices, which is, a lot, but we'll take that on, in order to make sure that we're looking out for the health and safety of our student athletes.
I know, obviously, from your days, I remember actually way longer than I care to admit for myself, covering you when you played on the local beach tour here in Holland. But where do you draw inspiration? How do you find drills? I mean, is it just from your own past in playing the game itself, or what resources have you utilized to try to find things that are engaging on the sand as far as a practice?
Oh, that's good. That was a long time ago that I was playing out on the MPVA the beach tour. I think that for one thing, as beach volleyball has become an emerging sport, the American Volleyball Coaches Association, the AVCA, has really embraced coaching education for beach coaches and tried to professionalize the beach coach profession. And so I've never gone to any of those the clinics when they are offered at our convention, because I'm always at the indoor stuff. But thankfully, the AVCA puts a lot of those things online. So I'm able to go back and look and read about some of the different types of drills and recommendations, tactics and strategies, and that kind of stuff. We've one of the things that Kyleigh did for us this past, like the last month, was she watched a whole bunch of AVP, pro beach volleyball games, and actually used a stopwatch to be able to see how long two players were within 6 feet of each other, in order to actually see, like, can we follow the social distance guidelines of COVID and play beach volleyball the way that it's meant to be played. And we were able to find out that you're really only within 6 feet of your partner for a total of 10 seconds every set. And you're within 6 feet of the person on the other side of the net from you if they're blocking and you're hitting, for a total of like a minute and a half. So like, and we're using those numbers, to be able to say, like, okay, so you're within 6 feet of somebody else for a total of 2 minutes per set. And if we're going to try and do this under 15 minutes, like, to reach to not cross that 15-minute threshold of the definition of social distancing, then we're able to play 7 21-point sets as a part of a practice or a tournament. And that's kind of how we're structuring a lot of this stuff. So, we're doing our research, and we're thinking through things just as if we were, trying to come up with new drills in indoor. We still try to, use our critical thinking skills and our understanding of motor learning and motor development, to be able to build practices and drills and environments that are going to be conducive to learning.
You have, and I hopefully didn't want to sound like sell your playing days short, because you are an outstanding player, an All-American here at Hope, and an NCAA postgraduate scholarship recipient as well. You've had a very rich Hope experience. Talk about your journey to Hope. How did you get, how did you choose Hope, and what kind of impact that it's had being here, both as a student athlete and as a coach?
Well, thank you for that. And I was a much better indoor player than I was on the beach. But I didn't go on another college visit. I knew that I was going to Hope since I was in about first grade, I think. My parents are Hope alums. My grandparents are Hope alum. And this was the place that I always knew that I wanted to be. But when I came to Hope, I actually thought that I wanted to be a basketball player. And that was, basketball was my sport. Volleyball was what I did for fun. I really liked the volleyball team. But I didn't even really enjoy the game that much in high school. Then had the opportunity, came to Hope, and I actually got cut from the basketball team my freshman year. And that was pretty devastating. That was like a real blow to my identity as just a person. I realized that I wrapped way too much of my identity up in who I was as a student athlete. And somebody ended up quitting the team, which opened up a spot that, a few days later. So I did end up coming back and playing basketball my freshman year. But realized that, there was something missing from that for me. And again, like during the course of that freshman year, I got to know a lot of the women on the volleyball team, and really like thought they were great. And so I said, hey, I'm going to give volleyball a shot. And I remember, going through tryouts with Coach Carla Walters, and ended up making the JV team, and was ecstatic about that, because I was just having so much fun, and realized like this is the type of team experience that I was looking for. Within, a couple days or weeks later, the middle hitter for the varsity team ended up spraining an ankle, and I got moved up. and somehow got on the court. I have no idea why. Like, certainly I wouldn't have put me on the court in that situation. But I got on the court and I did pretty well. And then, kind of the rest is history, and made the most out of my experience. But the word that you used to describe my experience a little bit was rich, and it absolutely was. Because not only was I able to play volleyball, I was able to coach at the time because the seasons were switched, and so I'd move up right out of the fall playing and coach in the winter, and then coach club in the spring. I was able to have a radio show at Hope. I was able on Sunday mornings, Front Porch Folk, it was called. It was a folk music radio show. And then I was able to do a semester in Chicago. I was able to do a couple like little short-term study abroad experiences. I look back on my Hope experience, and I think rich is the best way to be able to describe it, because of all the different things, even beyond athletics, that I was able to get myself involved in.
When did becoming a college volleyball coach, when did you make that idea like, okay, this is what I want, this is my calling and what I want to do?
Yeah, I remember it was a conversation with Steve Smith, our old soccer coach, who was one of my PE, kinesiology, physical education department professors. I was, kind of talking to him a little bit about it. I had just been to my first AVCA convention, where I realized that people are actually coaching as a job. Like, I had no idea that this was actually a job. Even like my coaches at Hope were faculty members, right? And I still kind of thought that that's how it was everywhere, and then realized quickly that the Hope model was a rather unique one. But I still didn't think that was going to be something that was going to be in my future. I thought I was going to become a high school PE teacher and maybe a high school volleyball coach, and then maybe college would open up some doors. And I still remember Coach Smith saying, "Hey, if you've got this dream, like, do it now while you're still poor." and you don't start earning some money, and then you're not going to want to say no to that anymore. So while you're still humble and hungry, go all in on your dream. And that was great advice. So.
And then I know that dream took you out to California and then back at Redlands. And what did you learn from that experience? Then it helped you when the opportunity to coach at Hope came. And obviously you'd been here and having a lot of fun with this volleyball program, and led it to great heights as well.
Well, I think that some of the things that I learned is, when I was in Miami University in Ohio, doing my grad work and working as an assistant coach there, you always think, like, okay, well, if I was the head coach, this is what I would do. And you think that maybe you're ready to be the head coach in that situation, but you're not. You're never ready to be the head coach until you just put yourself in that situation, and you are forced to have to make some of those decisions, and you're in a little bit more control of things, and so I think just like being at a place where they gave me a lot of grace to be able to make some mistakes, and find ways to be able to get through it. I think that they knew my heart and what we were trying to do, and we certainly did some really good things at Redlands. And so, but there was definitely a lot of growth that happened in the process of that. And the other kind of great thing about Redlands was that the coaching staff there at the time was, I wouldn't say young, but they were kind of like, a lot of them were probably, maybe 6 to 10 years into coaching, and into head coaching. And what that really allowed was that they were young enough to remember what it was first like as what head coaching was first like, but seasoned enough to understand the mistakes that they had made. And I was really grateful to work in that group of coaches, because they had a lot of great advice and a lot of wonderful experiences to share. And it was a really tight, cohesive group that a lot of people I still call friends.
And you alluded earlier to, you talk about with your grandparents and your parents coming to Hope Volleyball. As long as I've been covering you and Hope Volleyball since back in my newspaper days, and now as sports information directors, it's that your family is a big part of Hope Volleyball. And now it's fun to see. Obviously, we hear your husband as the PA announcer, and then seeing your son as well. Just talk about the family part for you and having your family be involved in this, in Hope Volleyball, and supporting you like they do.
Well, I'm will be forever grateful for the support that my family's been able to provide me and whatever I've pursued. They beyond even just like being at games and making it possible. I mean, like the amount of childcare that my parents provide so that I can be at practice, and when I'm at practice, I can be focused on practice, or doing other kinds of things. I'm really, really thankful for, and that, like, I know that Cooper's in really great hands when he's with them. That Dave, my husband, loves being a part of our program too, and DJ Dave, as he's commonly known as to our student athletes. That he wants to be able to give and be a part of that too. And it just makes it feel. I guess it's not that he's just like kind of paying lip service to being supportive, but he's actually like in it with us, and that makes it a huge difference.
Well, thank you, Becky, for joining us on the Orange and Blue podcast for Hope Athletics. Good luck this fall, and we look forward to seeing you as soon as possible on the court and playing games again. It's been great to spend some time and sharing your story.
Right. Well, thank you so much, Alan. Appreciate it.